All right, we are here with head coach Rob Pegg of the Vanguard baseball team. It's the 2022 season preview. And coach, we're just about 2 or 3 days away from opening day. You're going to be playing on Monday at Whittier, 2 p.m. And so I thought it'd be a good time right now to talk about this year's team. Last year, 40-16, tied the school record for wins. Finished 22-10 in the GSAC, won the GSAC, won the GSAC tournament. So what does this team do for an encore?
Yeah, it's a great question. Last year was a special year for sure. Excited about this year just because we have a good core returning, especially on the position player side. You know, as you've seen on the roster, we have a very veteran position player side and some key returners on the pitching staff as well. So the goals are just as high as they were last year. Try to compete for the top of the conference and, you know, ultimately get back to Lewiston. See if we can have a team that can make a run at that. And the guys are hungry. They've been working really hard all year, and great group, really exciting group to be a part of.
When you talked about returning players and looking at your infield, it appears to be right now all seniors. You've got Joe Johnson, Matt Land, Travis Aversa, and Chad Sutton, and that's a pretty solid core to to look at there for the infield. Can you expand on those guys?
Yeah, no, and that's or like you said, all veteran guys. All have been here. Some for 4 years, some 5 years with the COVID situation. Those guys have been around, and plus even the depth guys like Isaiah Lee and Elijah Weeks also in the infield. So there's 6 veteran guys that have played, have produced, and honestly, I have a lot of options. Just depending on matchups and how guys are going. But those guys are great guys and high expectations for them. They've been good leaders through the fall. And, we're excited for Monday, excited for the week ahead. Big week ahead, that's first week, five games. So,
what does Joe Johnson mean to this team? You've got a guy that won the GSAC Gold Glove Award, I believe the NAIA Gold Glove Award last year, and not only that is he exceptional in the field, but also at the plate. Over 300 hitter and 49 RBIs, 11 home runs last year. What does his leadership mean as a guy that you've had in the program now for 4 years?
Yeah, what a blessing. And he's started since he was a freshman, which is pretty special at this level for sure. And honestly, with Joe, if we were, last year we always talked about that it was a very balanced and it was hard to single out one guy. But if we had to, the coaches were talking about this, if we had to single out one guy from last year that was our most complete guy, sort of MVP, probably Johnson was that guy. Just because he impacts the game in so many different ways. He, like you said, he impacts it at the plate, great hitter, has power, has contact, and do different things. He knows how to run the bases well. And then you mentioned the Gold Glove. And first base, in my opinion, is sometimes an underrated position. Doesn't get all, but a great first baseman impacts game in so many ways. And Joe's as good as there is in the country. So excited to have him back this year. Hoping that he's blessed with another fantastic season. And he'll be whoever's next in line. Big shoes to fill there.
Absolutely. Speaking of big shoes to fill, when we go down to the outfielders, the main guy out there seems to be Aki Buxton, if I'm correct. Led the team last year with 17 home runs and another senior leader that comes into this team. And what does he mean for the outfielders, for the lineup in general for you guys?
Yeah, Aki had a phenomenal year last year, and even in the COVID shortened year, his first year here, really good. Last year, 17 home runs was actually the Vanguard record for a single season, and he did it off some good pitchers. Really exciting player. Again, especially at the plate, can hurt you on the base pass, hurt you with the bat, go long. Good defender out there. We do have a good core out there in the outfield. He's the guy with the most experience coming back. Some newcomers, Tommy Rodriguez was kind of our 4th guy last year. He's looking good. Dane Nakasuka is going to be good this year. Cam Hirahara, who's been a 5-year guy in that class with Sutton and Johnson. He hasn't got a lot of playing time in the past, but he's really improved, and he can impact things as well. And so we're pretty deep out there. But yeah, I'm looking at returners. He is the guy that, with the loss of Riker and Connor, he's the guy with the most experience, top of the order type guy. and exciting player. So hoping for the best with him as well.
And as we move on through your lineup, we look at the catcher, and you have a good one in Luke Arias coming back behind the plate. What does he mean for the team in terms of handling the pitchers and, just calling the game from out there?
Yeah, no, Luke's great, and again, we're blessed with depth all around. Kevin Meiser will be a senior this year for us. Oscar Diaz, Brian Reyes, and a few other guys, some freshman guys coming in, but Luke is currently our number one guy, kind of our most complete guy, and he's just a grinder back there. He's just solid, man. Day in and day out, he's going to compete. He's a no excuses type guy. Just gets after it and leads solid. Definitely leads solid, and it's fun with him. He was redshirted his first year, so his improvement that he's made over the last number of years has been incredible as well. So excited to have him back, and he had a really hot playoff run at the plate, and hopefully he can continue that into this year and accelerate it.
When we talk about your pitching staff, the first guy that comes to mind would be Justin Graves, but you also have a couple of other arms there in Tyler Armenta and Dylan McDonald. As you go into this season, how do you feel about your starting pitching?
Yeah, and that's where we lost the most. We lost some key guys from last year, and so we have a lot of newcomers, and the fall was good. We were confident in our depth. I think from the starting pitching side, that will emerge a little bit and evolve as the season goes on. But Graves had a phenomenal year last year, ended up being an all-conference guy for us, and that was fantastic. Hopefully he can equal or better that this year and continue to do what he did. Tyler Armenta, just a catch-all guy, and he's kind of like Arias from the position players, pitching side. You know what you're going to get every time out of him. He's going to compete, he's going to pound the zone, he's going to make teams beat him, and he can start, he can relieve, he can close, he can do a lot of things, so he'll definitely be called on quite a bit as well. And then a number of different newcomers. I won't go through every name out there, but as you know,
Who should Lion fans be ready to be on the lookout for in terms of who might surprise everyone as a potential guy that steps up that maybe going into the season you weren't expecting?
Yeah, I look at a guy, Jesus Munguia, just a sophomore for us this year. He's really improved, and we're excited about what he'll do this year. You mentioned McDonald, be good there. Quincy Vassar, a newcomer to the program. Xander Fletcher has been in the roster for a while, battled some injuries. We're excited about what he's maybe able to do this year. And a couple transfers again. Jacob Morales will be good in the pen. Bryce Barnett, okay, and those are guys to be watching. They'll get early opportunities, and again, this first week they're going to be tested. 5 games, a lot of guys will get tested, and we'll see who's ready, who's producing, and hopefully we'll be able to carry that on.
And God willing, you're up late in games, and so you have the opportunity to go to your closer, and who might that be this year?
Yeah, it's funny, last year we were kind of closer by committee. The one returning guy that has a lot of experience down there is Jared Greer. And he's a guy that we can use. I mentioned a couple of guys, Morales and Barnett are guys that can be in there, and even Fletcher Vassar, depending on matchup. So at this stage, we don't have one clear-cut guy. It's difficult with our format that we play the 4 games in a condensed period of time, and so you kind of have to have multiple options. And that's what we're excited about. That's where we think our strength is that we have multiple options, and it's just a matter of who's going to rise up and take kind of the ball and get it done. We want to get that save.
You talk about the 4-game format, referring to the GSAC schedule. Always a tough league. You had 3 teams last year that went to the NAIA opening round. Obviously, Vanguard was one of them, but also Westmont and Hope International. Should be another tough schedule again this year. So, where do you guys feel you shake out in this race this year?
Yeah, the conference is great. And you mentioned the teams, Westmont and Hope, very good. And then last year with the split, 3 very strong teams on the other side that we didn't really compete against a whole lot last year in Masters and Arizona Christian and Ottawa. And so there's not an easy game on the schedule in our conference. And it really comes down to who can win those close ball games. And I think that was a difference for us last year, is that we were able, and looking back, we won a lot of close games. And usually that's what happens. If we can do that, then I expect us to be towards the top again. And so it's hoping the ball bounces your way in those key moments, and you win the close ones.
And before you get into the GSAC schedule, you also have put together a pretty competitive non-conference slate. You've got teams like Lewis Clark State that are coming in here.
Yeah.
You're playing in a pretty tough tournament out in Arizona with Oregon Tech and Midland and Park Gilbert. When you put this schedule together, what did you have in mind for the team as how that was going to prepare them?
Yeah, when we started, it's funny because in the conference it's 9 teams, so there's always one team on the bye, and we actually start as the first bye week, which I guess in some ways is good, but then you have no real breaks through that. So you always want to prepare your guys as well as possible. It's nice to have a variety, in my opinion. You don't want to play all top 10 teams and that, but you do want to play some strong ones, and so I think that's what our preseason schedule is. Some teams that are maybe up and comers, others that are well established like a Lewis and Clark State, and we'll get a gauge. We'll definitely have a strong gauge of where we're at heading into conference, and it should prepare us well. So we're excited about that.
You look back at last year, and again, 40 wins, GSAC title, a great year all around.
Yeah.
You come up 1 win short of going to the NAIA World Series, and you have a senior-laden team. Mm-hmm. So have the guys talked about that a lot? Like, is there unfinished business? What is kind of the attitude of the team going into this season?
Yeah, another great question, and definitely a lot of those guys that we have on this roster were in that regional, opening round. They got us one win away, and some of the seniors that left, and we had a great core of 11 seniors, I believe it was last year. And one of those guys in kind of his senior sort of farewell speak he touched on that. He just said, hey, we were 1 game short of completing the mission. It's up to you guys this year to finish the mission. And that has carried on with a number of the guys, and that's the goal. No doubt that's the goal. We believe, it's within grasp, and then we have to just focus back and get ready for Monday. Get ready for that first inning. And it's cliche, but there's just a ton of truth in it. Taking it 1 pitch at a time, 1 moment at a time, dealing with the ups and downs, and staying consistent, staying positive, and persevering.
And how do you feel about being able to have fans, back in the stands, being able to watch the Lions play this year? First home game is next Thursday,
Yeah.
the 27th, so, everybody's getting fired up for that.
Yeah, I joke about that some because last year we were doing really well without the fans, and then when they could come back, I was kind of like, hey, we're doing fine. Let's keep the fans watching on TV. But in jest, of course, it's great to have the support have a wonderful base locally, and then the parent and families been super supportive of the program. So always exciting to see their faces and just build that better atmosphere for games. So I'm sure they'll get out here. I'm sure they're excited. Field's looking great. Finishing up a few projects here for the start. But yeah, should be a lot of fun.
Speaking of the field, you have a couple or a change to the turf out there?
Yeah, and again, really, really thankful to the alumni and parents and family and friends of the program. We just completed, because we have nice weather here, but we're still playing in the winter. It's really not a spring sport, it's a winter sport. And so that area around home plate gets chewed up quite a bit. So we're able to put together a plan and get turf around it, and that will help with the maintenance. And then it's not quite there yet, but a nice logo to brand it and make it look sharp. So excited about that, and fixed up a few areas around the dugouts. And again, just really appreciative the alumni and people out there have supported this program, and it wouldn't be where it is without them.
The momentum is building for the 2022 season, and thank you, Coach Pegg, and come on out and watch the Lions. They're going to be good again this year, and we're excited to get it started.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.